All right. Hello, and welcome to the Hybrid Theory Racing League and Division Numero Uno. And this time around, we are around Australia, which is a street circuit technically, but doesn't look as much like it. As let me do a quick, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can hear myself on the stream as well. So all's well right there. Welcome to Australia and a track which is a safety car haven. In other words, in my experiences, I've seen a lot of safety cars in one single race itself. This track can be slippery and there are a lot of corners where you can really lose your car big time, and if these drivers are really pushing in qualifying, I won't be really surprised to see a retirement from this session, but let's hope that's not the case, as there are 13 drivers out there, a couple of more drivers yet to join. Hopefully they are able to join before we go full throttle for 28 laps, I think 26, 28 odd laps, the 50% race around Australia, as PSI Legends should be the first driver to cross the line, or rather start a hot lap, as now he comes to the start finish straight, DRS wide open for him, and it'll be interesting to see the kind of downforces all these drivers run, as just misses the apex of turn 1, just a bit compromised exit for 2 and 3. You need to really get a good exit now. Heavy braking zone, turn 4 happen again. Probably the tires not up to temperature or not giving him the grip he needs, and pretty much a banker of a lap right now. The track is also fairly pretty green, considering he is the first driver to really go burning on his tires, as he just avoids the curve there, keeps his car neat to the right, taking the shortest path across this fast middle sector, as now he approaches a tricky left and right hander. Easy to lose your car if you run too much of the curve, but he holds it fairly neat there. DRS wide open yet again for him. Heavy braking zone in a slow right hander, as now he comes across the final set of corners, slight lift off there, and needs to get a good entry, and the Mercedes of Pandan, the gamer was it, has definitely taken off at least a few tenths from his time, as 1:18.4 is the time that PSI Legends sets. And which Mercedes was that? There are two Mercedes, I think. It probably was Shadow Sword who impeded him, as Abhishek has retired from somewhere. I think that is the very first retirement from qualifying session, as I had predicted. So not sorry Abhishek, but otherwise there is a long way to go. There is still a big race to go with a different grid order, so a lot to salvage yet from here. Let's see who is crossing the line next, which is the Haas of Deadly Mosquito, and he goes P2, 1:18.8, so that's a good time set by him as well. Almost 4 tenths away from PSI Legends, but expect that PSI Legends still knows he has a lot of time, as there was another time that came through with the likes of Manan, who's just finished his dive, and there is Tanishq, who is on a outlap, and Shadow Sword probably also going to set a time, goes P2, 700s, almost 700s behind P1 as Pandan the Gamer is also on. And I did I see a car crashing somewhere? And Bharat goes P3, and I don't know if I saw a car crashing, but I do see a car spinning around plenty. But alright, never mind. As not many drivers out there, I think Tanishq would be the next driver to probably set a time, but that shouldn't wouldn't be the case because he has invalidated his time and expect these drivers also probably all slow moving drivers to come back to into the pits. Yep, all drivers coming back into the pits. Tanish has gone for another run, so let's go on board with him going through turn 2 and 3. Now approaching another hard braking zone. Fairly brakes neat and clean, negotiates the apex cleanly, gets easy on the throttle as well. That's fairly smooth through those set of corners as now he approaches the end of the first sector. Yup, indeed, PSI Legends, there was a Mercedes that blocked you. And looks like the Mercedes of Shadow Sword, but nonetheless coming back to the lap by setting lap by the Red Bull driver Tanish. He is navigating right now a purple middle sector there for him as now rides the curve rather aggressively, chosen to have a good ride height on his car setup right now. Approaches another heavy braking zone, almost braking at the 100-meter board. Right, easy, fast on the power, major lift off there for Tanishq as now he comes across the final set of corners. Easy to lose your car here and just gets a bit of a moment and has to counter steer. But let's see where that lap time puts him, and that is P4, 3.5 tenths away from the pole sitter of PSI Legends, who has invalidated his lap right now. Spandan the Gamer having invalidated his lap time as well. So I think Shrikant Das now would be starting a lap. I think 119.1 is his already set time. So yep, let's. I think the Alpha Tauri, the one of PSI Legends behind, is also going to start a lap. So let's just stay on board with Shrikant Das, or maybe before the Mercedes, or maybe no. Let's stay on board with Srikandas. Let's see what kind of lines he is taking as he comes towards the end of the final sector, or rather the first sector. Now all the drivers, he is not choosing to take the shortest path through there, but does carry. I think he is running a bit of a higher downforce as he comes across this turn 10 or 11. I'm not very sure, is it 10 or 11 and or 9 or 10, but fairly navigates that cleanly as well. As now again coming to a heavy braking zone, he straightens his car well there, lift off and a slight brake at that fast right hander, slightly misses the apex of the penultimate corner, smooth on the. Yes, fairly confident on the power. I'm not sure what kind of traction assist there were over there, but surely looked like some, as he has improved 5 by more than half a second on his time and is in P3, as PSI Legends for some reason is on another run. So let's see what happens on this run with him. But coming back, I think Bharat should be the next driver crossing the line, but he isn't deploying any of his battery there. I am slightly surprised, but he is now. Yep, I think that is pretty much him starting his lap. As there's a spinner of the Mercedes of Spandan the gamer, or yep, I think that was Spandan the gamer who had a moment. Yep, he lost all the time that he had gained, and Shadow Sword also starting a lap time. Meanwhile, Manan, is that Manan or VFix? VFix improving on his time by 1.9 seconds. He's still few seconds off pace. I think he's not really started doing quali runs as yet. Srikandas is in the pits, and PSI Legends would also be coming back to the pits. A bit of laggy nature there of the car of PSI Legends. Meanwhile, URL Pradeep Abdul Samad has joined the lobby and is retired from the session. URL Pradeep and so has Harshi joined right at this moment. So good 15 drivers on the grid. At least we have a 75% attendance there. Some kind of fight that might happen as Bharat has just lost his front wing on the car, as there is a Mercedes that should be crossing the line next but doesn't look like it's pretty fast and just runs out of the way for his fellow Mercedes compatriot, which is Shadow Sword, who would be coming to finish off this lap as Hashi has left the session again. Hopefully he can join back. Where does he see himself? Still P2, improves by almost 600ths of a second, but still 100th behind PSI Legends, who should be coming out of the pits very soon. As Pandan the gamer has retired at the exit of turn 1. Wow, that's not the best of outcomes for him. Yep, I think that is where he has precisely retired turns 1 and 2. Alright, Tanishq now crossing the line is and will start a lap. So I think that is going to be a lap, and PSI Legends the only two drivers out on the track right now. Rest of them all in the pits. Still 5 minutes to go in the session, so a lot of time for them to get their head back and try to look for improvements in terms of their times. While Tanishq not really using the most of the track there, probably getting that exit which he needs right before, as he comes just down on his time by a thousandth of a second, and now coming across the middle sector, pretty much a flat out section, as Harshi has joined again as well, and probably running just a tad bit higher downforce, I believe. Now across this fast left and right hander, takes it fairly neatly there as DRS wide open for him. Yet again, heavy braking zone, braking at the 100-meter board. Gets his car straightened out, lifting off, turning in, and just an early turn in which compromises his exit and gives him a tad bit of understeer, but he goes back into the pits. The PSI Legends would now come to start a lap, the only driver on the track at the moment, and has had decides not to cut the pit entry. He won't be carrying the momentum that he needs to set in a good lap time, but question is, does he have enough time to go around and come out on a fresh set of tires? Let's see. As a few drivers, a couple of drivers, I think there is an Alpine that has come out. I assume there is a car that is out. That is the Alpine of Chip Schema that has finally come out. And URL Pradeep also out for a run, as Abhishek and Spandan, the two drivers, losing out on qualifying and crashing their cars out. Spandan the gamer still able to put one lap time, which sees him at P7 right now, but let's see if that gets displaced as the AlphaTauri is rather going very slow. So I think he's not going to dash back into the pits for a fresh set, but bomb his tires up for this run around as I think the drivers ahead of him are also on going to be starting his lap, so hopefully he has his tires up to temperature as well. Alright, Chip Schema has invalidated his lap time, and so has URL Pradeep and Smith Shah right now starting his lap. Probably going to put one lap time, so VFix is still in the pits for some reason, so he's hopefully should be coming out very soon, or if he isn't, not very sure. Yes, he does come out. Alright, which is the driver crossing the line next? That is Shrikant Das. Shrikant Das. No, I think but there is the Haas of Delhi Mosquito as well starting a lap. So, there was a retirement. Shrikant Das has retired at that very corner, turn 1 and 2. Wow, that corner that is the second victim for that corner. Let's get back to who else is crossing the line. You are Pradeep will start a lap, but PSI Legends is he crossing the lap time? If you, Harshi, you still have those 40 seconds, just try selecting a team, select whatever team you belong to. Otherwise, it's just going to be random. We'll just consider you in the official actual constructor you belong to, but just try selecting your team and your driver, and if you don't, you won't be able to load your setup as well, so you just have a handful of seconds to do a plentiful of things. So it's your call if you don't do it, so probably you might just get a random team and might be able to set your setup too. But meanwhile, let's see. Yep, it is Delhi Mosquito crossing the line. 3/10 of an improvement for him. He shows P3. Meanwhile, there is the Red Bull of Tanish that has finished his qualifying. So he wasn't able to cross the car on across the line on time. Meanwhile, VFX Kata improving by a couple of seconds as Manan also crosses the line. Goes P7 right now as there's an Aston Martin that is coming to cross the line of URL Pradeep, which is the first lap time that he is going to put on board. Let's see where he sees himself as now he crosses the line, goes P10 as there's another AlphaTauri, I think that's in the pits. It's Alpine of Chip Schema coming to cross the line. He goes P8 for almost half a second behind the leader there. As Shadow Sword now coming to the cross the line. Can he take pole from him? No, that is pretty much end of qualifying for him as well. As I think there was an AlphaTauri, another AlphaTauri that crossed the line. There's just one AlphaTauri tonight, right? As VFix, finally crosses the line and takes pole position on his last run from PSI Legends, and that too by 45 or 4.5 tenths to be precise. As Mosquito just retires from the session. That is pretty much the end of qualifying. For us, we'll just have a short 3-lap race or a 3-lap, like a short quick race before we go to the actual one with a reverse grid order. Meanwhile, VFix Carter taking pole position, PSI Legends rounding up the front row, Shadow Sword, Deadly Mosquito, Shrikant Das, Bharat, Tanishk and Manan, the final points getters out of this qualifying session. Meanwhile, Chip Schema, Spandan, URL Pradeep and Smith Shah, the rest of the time sitters. Abhishek, Abdul Samad and Harshi in the back end of the session, not having set any kind of times there. So that is pretty much qualifying for you, as these drivers would throw themselves at each other in this 3 lap crash dash. Ooh, fancy. Well, the weather is going to be reset again to dynamic for the race. We're not going to have a wet race. But yeah, let's see how well do these drivers take these other out on such slippery conditions. Just make it quick, gentlemen. Boom. Jump start and a spin from the AlphaTauri. And another spin. And a spin. And a spin. And a crash. And a spin. And a crash. And a carnage. Woohoo. Hungry all over again. All drivers going bowling. Let's go. Boom. Boom. Nice. That was fun catching on camera, and there you go. Alright, viewers, we will just be right back after setting the grid. Stay tuned with us. All right, welcome back. As we are ready to go underway for 29 laps around the streets of Melbourne in Australia, as Chip Schema and Shadow Sword have already been disqualified from the session. They'll be starting on cold tires, so medium to hard strategy or a soft medium to stop strategy predicted by the game here, as the front row is on a split strategy while the next three drivers on a set of mediums, URL Pradeep on a set of hards again. While rest of the drivers on the mediums, barring one, which is Abdul Samad, who has gone for a set of softs. So, realizing a higher propensity of a safety car around this track, and probably going for that gamble. But I've typically seen him get away from the drivers and start at the back. So I don't know if what kind of advantages he is planning, but hopefully he'll do a good launch throughout. As Bharat is now coming to round up the final corner, and the track, or rather drivers, have also fairly close to each other, which is a good sight to see. Right. Okay. Oh. Alright. Game, just give me a good camera angle. Huh? Right, I can see we are ready to go. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. The McLaren gets a good start, but the AlphaTauri and the Alpine get a brilliant launch right on turn 1. Oh, there is ghosting that is going on, as there is contact, and DNF, and Smith Shah has already retired from the session and has caused a virtual safety car, I think, for the moment. Oh, whoa! I don't know if that is high amount of lag that's going on, but meanwhile there is THTRL Legends doesn't have a front wing, and well, hopefully drivers sort themselves out. They have at the back, but let's have a look at the position change. Yep, PSI Legends, I think he was the driver with that brilliant start, but I think he's going to go back into the pits, gaining 5 positions. Meanwhile, Shadow Sword also gaining a lot of positions, and so does Pandan the Gamer, Hershey and V6 gaining 6 positions each. So I think Abhishek and Reddy Mosquito and UR Pradeep probably getting caught. He also he has his end plates intact, so but Smith Shah has retired from the session, but we don't know when the VSC is going to go green. But looking at Bharat, I think it is going to go green any moment, and PSI Legend in the pits. Meanwhile, Manan and Shrikant Das fairly pretty close, and it is green. Yes, Shrikant Das, is he going to look around on the inside of Manan? Yes, he does for a moment, but has to back off from that move, as now the drivers now settling themselves in their position, now getting important to get a groove, get back into the rhythm, as Tanishq has left the session, and PSI Legends, Chip Schema and Shadow Sword, the 3 drivers, I think to having gotten involved somewhere, but there was some kind of mess that was following definitely as Abhishek and Tanishq. I think that's the ghosted car of Tanishq losing a lot of positions. Meanwhile, let's go back to the tire situation. So, oh, and the Spandan the gamer goes very deep into that corner and loses a heap of positions there, and he has lost like four positions at the very minimum. I think he was, yep, P4, but now he is in a train of cars right behind him. Meanwhile, Shrikant Das is very hot on Manan. Now get towing in, tucking himself right behind the Alfa Romeo, getting the slipstream. Is he looking to make a move down turn one? No, it looks to unrest the Alfa Romeo driver, but nothing doing, says Manan to him. And now he does get a better run from Manan through turn 2 and 3, but he still has to hold back. Meanwhile, is there any kind of a move coming behind? Not really. The driver still holding guard, and DRS would also be enabled in this lap, so expect that 15-20 km per hour boost for those drivers, enabling them to make that move on other drivers. Meanwhile, Shadow Sword and Chip Schema. Shadow on the hard tires, Chip Schema on the soft tires, almost runs into the back of Shadow Sword. Lobby glitched. Oh, is it the case? I don't know. Right now, it's all these drivers are managing their ground. Spandan the Gamer and Daddy Mosquito in a battle. I think Spandan the Gamer, there was probably some kind of contact, and Spandan the Gamer has lost his car there. But not sure how the situation is like in terms of lobby being glitched or not. Right now, it looks all stable to me. Tanishq has joined the session back. Meanwhile, now with the DRS assist, Shrikant Das pulls on the inside of Manan, but Manan gets that better drive on the outside and still holds his position from Shrikant Das. But Shrikant Das would be really eager to make the move that he can. Meanwhile, Chip Schema and Shadow Sword also in a fight of their own. Alright, Tanishq also is mentioning about a lobby glitch, but I, as a spectator, am not very sure as Shrikant Das has retired from the session. Where is that? And that has caused a safety car. Oh, and has he retired at the exit of this corner? He's retired. Why can I not see his car? Oh, this is where he retired. Oh, probably I think there was some kind of contact or some battling going on between Manan and Shrikant that probably led to a crash at a very odd place, and the safety car has also come out. So Tanish Smith, we'll just find out if there is a glitch or not after this safety car. If it is going in, if it comes in or not. But right now, from the looks of it, everything looks rather okay. Tanishq is also looks in control of his car, is he? He does look in control. Yep. Alright, so all that 5-second lead built by Bharat has all gone away with this safety car coming out. Now Abdul Samad, this would be a good time for Abdul to have boxed, and he hasn't for some reason. And why are their positions being changed between drivers? Harshi Alright, Abdul, you probably should be going into the pits. You still choose not to, while Abhishek is going back into the pits. I think this is his second pit stop. Alright, hopefully the safety car should be in this lap as well. And not sure what Abdul Samad's strategy is like on those 5 lap old soft tires, but he would be expect him to go into the pits very soon, and this would just stray him away from the grid. But nonetheless, let's keep an eye out on the battle that we'll have here between Bharat, Manan, Harshi, and VFix, all on the same set of tires and same tire age as well. So just the difference of skill and setups which vary. Shuffle the order through the course of the next few laps. As alright, why are their positions being changed behind? And okay, safety car is in this lap, so I don't think there is any kind of a glitch in the lobby per se. All right, so I think this was on mute for quite a while. So in the course of a couple of laps, there have been another safety car, and all my commentary had been on mute because of the disturbances all around. But I think hopefully now at least the next 19 laps should rather be smooth. But Smith, we can't really do anything. Something when from the looks of it, it doesn't look like it as much as what drivers are trying having any kind of collisions. But yeah, rather seems synchronous at the moment. But yep, have a talk with the league directors and let them know what you think and what you think should happen with this race as well. But we still continue uh, as the safety car is in this lap yet again. Where we've already had 3 retirements. And URL Pradeep has gone, and that's a good restart for him. He's built a second gap to the Alpha Tauri behind, and the two Alpines also running in formation of Chips Abhishek and Chip Schema. Abhishek's rather coming fairly pretty close to the Alpine ahead. Is he going to challenge him to turn 3? Almost side by side, the two Alpine drivers. Abhishek is looking to make a move on the inside, which is now the outside for the next corner, but Chip Schema still defends his position and lives to fight another a few more corners as there are. Hershey is also pretty close to the McLaren of Bharat, but there's no move coming there as well as going back up. PSI Legends has pulled a few tenths again on URL Pradeep, and URL Pradeep on pretty old tires. Meanwhile, Manan and V6 Kata, probably I think those are team orders coming into picture. V6 getting the pass from his teammate, but there is an intense battle that is going on as side by side come the two Alpine drivers yet again, and this time Abhishek makes a move on the inside and the Alpine exchange those positions. Is going back up. PSI Legends is that is an unfortunate incident for PSI Legends and has to cut the pit lane as well to go back to the pitch for another wing change. But URL Pradeep losing his car, facing the other way yet again, and somehow managing to get into the pits, and that was a rather unfortunate incident between the two drivers. As PSI Legends has retired from the session, he has had enough of this race and doesn't want to have any more. Meanwhile, the Red Bull of Hershey is hot on Spandan the gamer and looking to make a move on him. Does he have enough of straight line speed to be able to challenge him down to the next chicane? Not really right now. All the drivers holding position. Meanwhile, Spandan the gamer is also pretty close to Chip Schema and would be eager to make a position on him. Takes a peek on the inside, but nothing doing for him as Abhi, or rather Hershey, almost runs into the back of the Mercedes driver there. So he has a 3-second penalty to contend with as well. But this is an interesting battle for P3 that is rather brewing, and there is another battle that which might just brew in some time, which is between P1 and P2. But right now DRS has also been enabled, coming back to the train of these cars, second separating 4 cars, and VFix also right at the back of this pack, so he would also be looking to salvage anything as he can from this train and make his moves. Right, Abhishek's pretty close on Shadow Squad right now. Let's have a look at the tire situation as well. So, yep, Abhishek's on some pressure rubber there, although an entire great big. And URL Pradeep has come out on a set of intermediate tires for what reason? I have no clue. Okay, but coming back and the Alpine of Abhishek and side by side, and Shadow Sword just runs him out of ground over there and still holds that position, but he will get the DRS, the Alpine driver, and would be eager to make a move on him as much as he can. Let's see what happens down through as these drivers come through the start finish straight. DRS wide open for Abhishek, but he still decides to follow suit behind. And going back, also battle for P3. Chip Schema still holding his ground right behind Hershey and Bharat. And Spandan the gamer has finds it, and Hershey taps the back of the Alpine of Chip Schema. Hopefully not a lot of damage for him from that. I hope that was a slow love tap, but nonetheless that would make him lose the momentum, as VFix has also Spandan the gamer probably had a moment somewhere in that battle, because he's in P9 yet again, as going back to the battle for P1. Abhishek, meanwhile Chip Schema and Hershey also side by side. Hershey just giving Chip Schema the squeeze before making that move. Meanwhile Abhishek also with the DRS on. Shadow Sword still is holding on to his P1, as the Alpine of Abhishek is rather eager to make that move now. He is almost front wing to gearbox. Does he get a good exit? Shadow Sword does go a bit deep into that corner. Abhishek has the TRS, but probably not enough straight line speed to be able to make the move on Shadow Sword. Meanwhile, going back, Hershey, the new leader of this train for P3, Chip Schema right behind, and also Bharat also would be eager to make a move on Chip Schema, almost kissing the res of the Alpine driver. Meanwhile, Manan has also attached himself to this train, and so has Deadly Mosquito and Spandan the gamer and Abdul Samad. So this is a train right from P3 to P11. The P1 and P2 are involved in a battle of their own, while there is an intense battle right from P3 to P10. Meanwhile, can Abhishek make a move this time around? But Bharat is looking to make a move on Chip Schema, side by side, go through both the drivers. I think Bharat gets a brilliant drive across that fast left and right hander. And meanwhile, the Red Bull driver runs a bit deep, and Abhishek also loses a lot of ground to Shadow Sword. I think he probably had a moment somewhere. But side by side are Hershey and Bharat. Bharat with that DRS, that extra straight line speed as well. On the inside of turn 1 makes that move stick, but Hershey does get a better exit than Bharat and is looking to come back, but Bharat will get the double DRS and it holds on to his position, as VFix would also be looking to make, is still and P6 looking to make his moves, but still not able to. Meanwhile, Hershey gets another 3-second time penalty, and Abhishek has also clawed up almost 4/10 from whatever time that he had lost to Shadow Sword behind. Meanwhile, Hershey, Chip Schema and VFix almost side by side. This is where the difference of setups comes great into picture, with drivers with lower rear downforce, lower rear wings rather, and Shadow Sword and Bharat side by side, and rather Abhishek side by side, and are still side by side through those corners, as now Shadow Sword on the inside, holding on to the inside. Abhishek has to go over the curbs and in that position. Meanwhile, Shadow Sword gets a bit squirrely at the exit of the final corner. Now he's right behind him. Who has the DRS? It is Shadow Sword who has the DRS, pulls on the inside at turn 1 and takes that lead back. through Shadow Sword, but Abhishek is aware that gets a brilliant exit through from Shadow Sword, and he goes back into P1. A bit of wheel rubbing between these two drivers. Shadow Sword still not willing to yield that position as Chip Schema. VFix has also made a move on all the drivers. As I think Bharat has lost his car. Uh, in all of that battle, he is right at the back of that pack now. He has also detached himself. Meanwhile, this was some brilliant racing between Abhishek and Shadow Sword, and Abhishek making the move. Meanwhile, Chip Schema is now under attack from the other Alfa Romeo of Manan. I think Bharat and Hershey, the two drivers who were right up front, are now at the back. So probably some kind of incident between the two drivers which has led to that outcome, but he can only speculate, we never know. Meanwhile, coming back, Manan goes down the inside, and there was quite a bit of contact between a lot of drivers. Chip Schema had to take further avoiding action to avoid running into the getting collected by Manan, but that was some elbows out driving by all these drivers. So that this battle is rather getting pretty intense for P4, I think, as VFix would be on mode push. He has about 4 seconds of gap to cover up. Meanwhile, Hershey gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he would probably come out on a set of medium tires, so probably getting some kind of damage. Meanwhile, Spandan the gamer, their deadly mosquito and the McLaren of Bharat, I think, or is that Abdul Samad? That is Abdul Samad. And there it is almost a 3-wide moment between these drivers. As Spandan, the driver on the outside, makes the most of that racing line, but Abdul Samad wants to come back at him, and so does Deadly Mosquito, and Spandan the gamer loses 2 positions as a process, and there is a spinner, a bit of moment for Abdul Samad, or I'm not sure if there was contact between these drivers, as now Deadly Mosquito makes his way past all of this. As Manan is and Bharat are now pretty close. Bharat would look to make a move on Manan. Manan on the middle of the line, middle of the track, still holding on to the racing line, not letting Bharat make any kind of move there. But does Bharat get a good exit? No, he doesn't. Manan does get a better exit than Bharat this time around, and he will hold on to that P8, as now Shadow Sword, who had lost 2 seconds to Abhishek, is now within the DRS range. So probably a mistake from Abhishek which has cost him a bit of time, and tagged Shadow Sword right back in the picture. And Shadow Sword will also get the DRS assist and some respite from the charging VFX behind. But this is a battle to watch out for. These podium sitters expect a lot of shuffling of order, as Abdul Samad and Spandan the gamer were going at it again, I believe. And the move, meanwhile, Abhishek has gained a bit of ground, but Shadow Sword has the DRS, and therefore the respite from VFX yet again, and that double DRS will come to his assistance and also pull him within that 1 second of the Alpine driver ahead. But can he stick on to that 1 second through the middle sector, which is where actually the Mercedes driver gains on him, considering the straight line speed that he has, as now he's just 6.5 tenths behind the race leader, and probably no move coming at the current moment. And also Shadow Sword and also VFX is now even closer than Shadow is to Abhishek, and VFix has, or rather, Shadow Sword has to yield that position to Abhishek, who got a to VFix, who got a good drive through that left and right hander, and now we'll also get the DRS on Abhishek. So let's see if he is able to make a move in this lap itself and take the lead of the race. No is the answer. So not on this straight, but does he get? He does get a better good exit through turns 1 and 2 as well, but has to still hold back behind. Meanwhile, as the pack behind has fairly spaced itself out. Meanwhile, Bharat and Manan are still going at it for P8, that is, while there's nothing other than this battle for the race win and the race lead as well in that process. But now VFix just a couple of tenths behind Abhishek's. DRS wide open for him. Is VFix looking to make a move here? Not yet, not quite, and he would follow suit. Here as now VFix comes through the final corner, would line his car and the exit to get a good run on Abhishek. Is he looking to make a move? The corner comes in right on time for Abhishek, but this is a double DRS zone. Abhishek does get a good exit, and VFix also has the DRS, and Abhishek just outbraking himself slightly, which gets VFix close to him again, while the Mercedes of Shadow Sword has lost that bit of ground on him. So this is a battle for race victory that we have on our hands right now, as both these drivers now are coming to lap. I think there is a lapped car of URL Pradeep that's right up ahead, and Abhishek would want that car to come as soon as it can so that he can get a bit of DRS 8, because VFix is now closer than ever to make a move this time around. But a short straight, this one, the DRS assist does help, but he's not, VFX not able to get his car significantly alongside to be able to challenge him for the corner. But now coming through this final set of corners, don't think Abhishek would have the DRS from URL Pradeep, and URL Pradeep would probably move aside. Now Abhishek now not having the DRS, but still holds on to this position and the race lead, but now has a bit of compromised exit, and now side by side both the drivers for the lead of the race, and a bit of contact. I think Abhishek's just losing his car a bit, and now he has to yield that position, and now VFix might just get that DRS aid from URL Pradeep ahead of him. Yep, I think he would. He definitely would. So Abhishek, having lost that battle a few corners ahead, now is fairly close to VFix, but yep, that lap car not a problem for both these drivers. And can Abhishek pose any kind of a challenge to VFix through this lap around, and also the very next lap has now come across the start finish straight? I think yep, there isn't any kind of move meanwhile coming there, and I think VFix might just be able to pull away. Meanwhile, the battle for P7 has also rather stayed consistent, with Manan still holding his position. But now VFix has now pulled almost a second onto Abhishek, and I think, yep, Abhishek now has a 3 second time penalty as well. Probably that turn 10, the left and right handed chicane, that fast chicane is where he probably had a bit of track extension. Doubtful about that, but that's probably where he might have collected that penalty. Meanwhile, Bharat also getting a time penalty now. Now towards the fag end of the race, the drivers with tires would also be going away from these drivers, as Deadly Mosquito is now close to Chip's schema and would be looking to make a move on that fresher rubber as compared to those 19 lap old hard tires of Chip's schema. Yep, Deadly Mosquito is pretty close this time around, as Abhishek's now losing that ground, but he needs to keep that 3 second delta to Shadow Sword so that he doesn't lose that position to him. Meanwhile, Chip Schema also wanting to hold that P4 as much as he can for these last 4 laps. Or rather 5 laps, 4.5 laps rather. As Panan the gamer sets the fastest lap of the race on those fresh soft tires and also gets a time penalty for cutting the corner at turn 1, and Bharat meanwhile on his everlasting battle with Panan. Manan still not able to find a way past him, also has a penalty to contend with, so not the best of causes, but this time he is much closer, and Manan's light is also flashing, so that might just be those eyes under the helmet, under the white and red helmet of the McLaren driver might have just been lit up seeing that light flashing, but Manan has Abdul Samad right ahead of him, and whose battery is also flashing, but Manan right now with no DRS. But is this the chance that Bharat has been looking for? Not quite, but he is pretty close, and the both drivers get a comparable exit. Meanwhile, Deadly Mosquito also not able to make a move on Chip Kima, but Bharat, oh, contact between the two drivers. Bharat looking to make a move on the inside, and as these drivers were coming out of that corner, just front wheel clipping the rear wheels of Manan, and Manan losing that position. Meanwhile, Delhi Mosquito is pretty close to Chip Schema and will get the DRS around. This time around, URL Pradeep just being letting his way past, as there is this battle for P4 that's rather brewing up, and Deadly Mosquito would be looking to line himself up in the start-finish straight to be able to make a move on Chip Schema. Let's see what the outcome is for this lap around, as now they come to whoa, and Deadly Mosquito has lost the battle right there with his car spinning around and loses another position to Abdul Samad, and who was for some reason very close to Bharat, and now Bharat has probably also had another moment as URL Pradeep goes into the pits for a set of medium tires. I think those soft tires, he had probably done 11 odd laps on those soft tires, were pretty much in puncture territory, and probably has no more soft tires to play with. He's come out on a set of mediums for the end of the race, as VFix has a 3.5 second lead to Abhishek, who has a 6 second lead to Shadow Sword. So that's pretty much how the podium order would look like. As yes, the field has also fairly spaced itself out, as Hershey now sets the fastest lap of the race and would get an extra point for that as well, because he would be finishing P10. As there's a yellow flag and Manan has retired from the session, Manan goes to the pits right when I wanted to. Alright, so that is probably at the exit of the final corner where Manan has lost his car, but he might not just get that point as well, because URL Pradeep is a lap down. Not sure if Manan was a lap down. I don't think he was. So I think he might just be able to get that point. So, oh no, I think Pradeep might just be able to complete 28 laps. So no points for Manan at all. As Abhishek, or rather VFix, now comes to start the final lap of the race, with Abhishek right behind him, with a lapped Red Bull of Hershey, I believe, between the two drivers. Yep, I think this is where URL Pradeep will overtake Manan, I believe. Alright, there's another yellow flag and URL Pradeep has retired from the session. At turn 1. Oh, but I think you would be still able to get that 1 point for having finished more than 90% of the race. Alright, here comes VFix, who takes the checkered flag for the Australian Grand Prix. Abhishek's in P2 and Shadow Sword rounding up the final podium position. Chip Schema was pretty close to him to take that P3 away from him, but that was a good drive. Meanwhile, Abdul Samad and Deadly Mosquito in a battle, but eventually finishing P5 and P6. Bharat comes home to take P7. Spandan, the gamer, the only driver, and Hershey, the lapped car of Hershey, having finished the race already behind VFix. So, yep, as now we wait for Spandan to cross the line. Yep, that is pretty much as VFix from the back of the pack comes to take the race victory. Abhishek with a solid drive from P3 finishes P2, Shadow Sword finishes P3, Chip Schema, Abdul Samad, Delhi Mosquito, Bharat, Spandan, Hershey, and URL Pradeep, the final points finishers, the rest of the points finishers. URL Pradeep with a last lap DNF somehow will get the points. Meanwhile, Manan, PSI Legends, Tanish, Srikanth, and Smith, the rest of the non-finishers of the race, So that is pretty much uh, the Australian Grand Prix weekend for you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed the race as as much as it had those slight dull moments, but nonetheless a bit of action there between these drivers. So that's me, Gaurav, aka Easy Level Bots, signing off from the comms box. Until next week, bye bye.